even if he's not a factor, I'm sure Bellevue is certainly considering that fact. And now here's Rowe back to pass, looking down for Ferguson, hits him at the 40. He runs up to midfield, gets it into Dayton territory, all the way down to the 48-yard line. What a play with 58 seconds to go in the football game. As Rowe dropped back and he threw the football before Ferguson had made his cut to the left side. Bob took it in at the 39 and rambled into Dayton territory.
And he did a good job of getting out of bounds as well in order to stop the clock, as there's now 58 seconds left. And Bellevue is in Dayton territory, as Gary Ball told you. And again, you have to look for Ferguson on those down and outs. And on the other side of the field, you might want to look for Veach on the little screen out into the flat.
Split backs in the backfield. Rose drops straight back in the pocket, looking downfield for Ferguson. Ferguson catches it at the 30-yard line. He's going to be tackled there by Lonnie Jordan of the Dayton Green Devils. Boy, Bellevue's definitely in gear right now in this football game.
And it's the quick offense right now, Gary Ball. Another good catch by Ferguson. That's 2 in a row, so we were talking about him, and he does do the job. Let's see if Mike Rowe throws the ball quickly out of bounds in order to stop the clock. It's 1st and 10.
Don't understand all these Bellevue fans leaving with 48 seconds. Here's a pass to Ferguson. He's got it at the 18-yard line. 1st down, the Tigers of Bellevue. And Mike Rowe, Bob Ferguson and company, they have the football at the 18-yard line, 44 seconds. What a situation this brings up, Kevin.
I'll tell you what, I think we're coaching these teams, Gary. Bellevue, we said Veach at the halftime, he should be getting the football a little bit more. And now we're talking about Ferguson, and he's done a fine job catching the last 3 passes. The ball is now at the 18, 44 seconds to go. Bellevue on a drive.
Mike Rowe now, boy, he drops back and he flings it downfield. It's going to be caught by Ferguson at the 11-yard line. 4 straight receptions for Bob Ferguson. Mike Rowe was almost caught in the backfield that time.
What a great catch by Ferguson. He helped out his quarterback very well by coming back towards the football. It's now 2nd down and 4 yards to go for the 1st down. Bellevue with the football.
Mike Rowe drops straight back. Now looking for Phipps in the end zone. Throws it. Touchdown, Kevin Phipps. Touchdown. With the football was Kevin Phipps for the touchdown. 14-12, 18 seconds to go, and Bellevue with the conversion. We can have overtime here at Gilligan Stadium.
Here's the replay of that last touchdown. Rowe fires right in the middle. Kevin Phipps, bingo, touchdown. And the game is now at a 14-12 lead for Dayton, but a 2-point conversion, as you said, Gary Ball, and Bellevue ties this one up. And this could be one heck of a football game, as if it already isn't, because it's been a dandy. And we have a timeout on the field right now with your score 14-12, Dayton leading. And how about the quarterbacking concentration of Mike Rowe that time? On that particular drive, Mike Rowe completed 5 passes. He only had completed 2 in the entire football game before that. He completed 5 out of 5 passes on that particular drive. Ferguson did a nice job of catching the first 4 passes, and then the touchdown pass went to Kevin Phipps. Phipps now has 1 touchdown in the football game, as does Brian Veach. Just an excellent, well-executed drive by the Bellevue Tigers.
Kevin, what about that call? Bob Ferguson had caught 4 straight passes. You have the football on your 11-yard line. You throw it down the middle of the field to Kevin Phipps, and you score 6 points, and now you're right back in this football game knocking on overtime's door.
Knocking on overtime's door. And how about all those fans, like you said, that were leaving? This is homecoming night, and Bellevue has a chance to knot this game out. And you see they're all of a sudden huddled around the exit gates as they've decided to come back in and watch the remainder of this one. There's only 18 seconds. What's going to the minds of Dan Hill right now? You have to expect it could be a passing play. They've had so much success in the air.
Could be something to Brian Veach out of the backfield, too. Here's a pitch out to Veach. He might get in. He does. Brian Veach gets in for the conversion. 18 seconds. The Tigers tie it up. Touchdown pass of 11 yards to Kevin Phipps. And Brian Veach goes over from the left side, 3 yards out. It's 14-14. The Tigers have pulled this one out with 18 seconds. They've tied it up as the first half Dayton led 14-0. And now, as we said, Bellevue 14-0 here in the second half.
2 completely different halves of football here, and Bellevue has broken out in sheer pandemonium. 18 seconds left in the football game. Now Bellevue can't celebrate too much because the game is not over. Dayton still has an opportunity to score either on the kickoff or whatever. Score is tied 14-14, and Gary Ball, as we said, we were talking about that All Sports Trophy Shop Most Valuable Player plaque that we award at the end of the game in association with NKPN Sports, but we did the exact intelligent thing to do by not giving it away yet, because with 18 seconds left, it is without a question anybody's ball game.
Well, let's give Dan Hill a lot of credit because he's the one that decided to move that football back on that penalty instead of taking that situation. Dayton could have kept that football, and they would only had 3 or 4 yards to go. And, of course, that's hearsay. But, nevertheless, Bellevue gets the football back. They drive 70-some yards and pick up the touchdown as Kevin Phipps, 11 yards from Mike Rowe. And then, as we said, Brian Veach would figure in that conversion he did as he rambled around the left side. 18 seconds. Back deep for the Dayton Green Devils is Lonnie Jordan with Rod Cleat, and also back there's Dan Brock. And here's the kick, and it's going to drive the Rod Cleat, and Cleat's going to keep it, roll around the right side. There's Rod Cleat with the football, gets up to the 25, still on his feet, gets up to the 32, where it's going to be dropped down there by a couple of Tigers with 10 seconds to go in the football game.
We do have penalty markers down on the field, and that could be holding or clipping against the receiving team, the Dayton Green Devils. As Gary Ball told you, what a football game. 10 seconds left. Your score is 14-14. This has by far been the closest game we've had on NKPN Sports all year long. NKPN Sports is a Ron Lawson television production, and this has been an outstanding football game, Gary. Of course, we always show enthusiasm. We just love high school football, and this is the reason you should go out and support your local team, because high school football sure is fun.
And also, for our advertisers on this NKPN Sports, patronize those, because it's with their reward to us that we're able to bring this to all you folks. And I tell you what, Ronnie Lawson, the producer of NKPN Sports, could not have picked a better game on this September 20th, as this is definitely has overtime written all over it.
It certainly does, and the penalty goes against Bellevue, and that forces the ball 15 yards up the field. So Dayton has the ball at the 48-yard line, but the clock is running. 7 seconds left to go.
This will be the only play Dayton will get off, as they will pass it. Clet back as Rod drops back to pass, and Cleat's pass is going to go incomplete, and that's going to be the regulation time, as his intended receiver was 84, Donnie Claiborne. Claiborne's been his primary receiver. That's the end of the regulation time. 14-14 is your score. We'll go into overtime now. And boy, that all-important toss to start this overtime.
Gary, let's talk about momentum at this particular time. Obviously, there's nothing really to talk about. Dayton had all the momentum going into halftime, but now the momentum with homecoming and all the other ramifications definitely in the hands and in the spirits of the Bellevue Tigers.
Well, I would certainly agree with that, but again, you get into a situation where each team will get the ball at the 10-yard line. They'll have 4 plays, and of course you want to take it in for the big 6. The FG, the field goal, is not going to do you a lot of good if the other team can get the 6, but each team will get a series. But what I'm saying is I think this toss is very crucial, because Bellevue's defense has been very tough, but Bellevue, I think, would like to get the football because they've got, as you said, the big Mo.
All right, now we're going to go back and take a look at that Bellevue drive that permitted the Bellevue Tigers to not up this football game. Of course, Bruce Ferguson was very instrumental in that one, as he just had an outstanding job. Here's the first one. Pass to Ferguson. He gets out of bounds nicely about the 18-yard line. There's the Bellevue Tigers and Brian Veach, who scored 1 touchdown, and then that all-important 2-point conversion to knot this game at 14 apiece. But Mr. Ferguson, what an outstanding player in this football game. We talked about him before. Here's the next passing situation. Mike Rowe is the quarterback, of course. He fires it to Ferguson, who did a great job of coming back towards the football and gathered the ball in at about the 11-yard line. And that, of course, set up the touchdown. Ferguson, we talked about him right before they scored, and he just did a heck of a job. As there you see the players huddled around Dan Hill. And here's the scoring play. Rowe rolls to the left side, fires into the middle to Kevin Phipps. Touchdown. And that made it 14-12. And then, of course, Brian Veach rambled in from 2 yards out, and that gave that man, Dan Hill, a tie score, 14-14.